Zach Newman, so excited to be talking with you today. How's everything going?
It's great. Thank you for having me. I've been really looking forward to having this conversation with you.
Fantastic. I have been too, because I love you're known as Chefin' with Zach.
That's me.
That is so cool. And I know you just graduated from college
Yeah.
with a degree in computer science. And I love when you put in your bio that you're both a nerd and a foodie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think you probably almost, to really be a true foodie, you almost have to be nerdy, right? Because you
Oh yeah, the two intertwine like crazy.
totally.
People always ask me like, how are you into two things that are so opposite? But I tell them it's really not an opposite at all. They're similar in so many ways. I'm someone that I thrive off creativity.
Yeah.
And if you look at the core of both cooking and coding, they're both at the core creative activities, whether it's problem solving or thinking of what dish to create or how to present that to a world when you're making a video. Really just creativity at the deepest level, and that's who I am.
Well, and the interesting thing about that is you're using both sides of your brain. And when you can be in a career where you're able to use that, I mean, that's just food for your brain. Like that's
Oh
you're
yeah.
shooting off neurons and like that's just really it's healthy is what
Yeah,
it is.
so I'm currently not pursuing a career in tech, but people are like also to me like oh, how does it feel to like bust your ass for 4 years like with the hardest major and you're not even using all that time you spent. But I think it really translates to all other areas of my life. First of all, like I'm better at managing stress because of it, because I spent a lot of time like under pressure trying to meet a deadline for a project, for example, or just sitting with my thoughts and like trying to figure out how to like solve this problem at hand. It just changed the way I think, and I see it in all areas of my life, not just the coding side, but everything really.
Well, I almost feel like, you've got like an amazing social media platform that has exploded.
Thank you.
And, you're building this business. You're now an entrepreneur, really, is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And having that knowledge from your degree is only going to benefit you in ways you don't even know yet. And I think that's where most people are, they're looking at it like this, like with the blinders on, and they don't even see like the bigger picture that I can see, that like it's one day you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, thank goodness I learned how to do that because it's really helping me now.
Yeah, I mean, like this was actually exactly a year ago. I had a really long talk with my family because I had 2 semesters of college left, and I didn't see my career heading in the direction of tech. But even at that time, I didn't have a platform that was big by any means. I probably had like 2,000 followers combined on Instagram and TikTok. But I was trying to get my parents' permission to drop out of college so I could just focus on this I was like, give me 6 months and I'll show you results and I'll build a career out of it. And they're like, no, you're going to finish your college experience first. But I'm glad I ended up finishing college. I'm sure this knowledge will come in handy at some point.
Of course it will.
Possibilities are endless.
Well, and like you said, part of graduating from college isn't the knowledge that you're necessarily obtaining, because now computer science is very different because you are learning things that you will use if you take a job in tech.
Yeah.
Most college graduates, a lot of what they learn they'll never use, they won't remember, right? But the big thing about completing a college degree is that you started and you finished it.
Yeah, yeah. It was like that when I finished my last exam and I found that I passed all my classes and I was ready to graduate. Like it was a huge sigh of relief. It was like I did that, you know?
Yeah,
It was big triumph at the moment.
of course, of course. All right. So when did you start chefing with Zach, and what was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah. So I'll take you back all the way to the beginning when I first
Please
started
do.
to cook.
Yeah.
I remember I started cooking at the age of like 5 because my mom would make me eggs for breakfast, and I was like, oh, let me try that out. So I started out with just making eggs, very simple, and then it just moved from one thing to the next. I started like learning how to make chicken and like steak and all these other things throughout elementary school. And cooking for me was always just like it was a hobby. My family, I come from a big family. I have a twin brother and 3 older sisters. We're a family of 7. And I'm the youngest, and everyone older than me was a foodie. So like I would watch Triple D, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Guy Fieri's show on Food Network with them all the time. So all of that just combined, and over time, it was a hobby, and I just kept learning. I learned through watching more like Netflix shows and YouTube, and I just really built that knowledge base over time, and that with my combined with just like practice of like loving to cook, I would cook myself dinner for fun all the time. That was with me until college, and COVID hit. I was already starting to like gain some recognition in my school, like for being able to cook, because like people would invite me to their apartment, and I would just like cook dinner with them or whatever. And COVID hit, so now we're in March of 2020, and I was just like bored with my life. There was nothing much to do. Like it was just school and nothing else, because we had so much time on our hands because like our social lives were gone. We couldn't leave the house, whatever. So I just spontaneously decided to start a food account on Instagram, like no goals or aspirations with it, just for fun. And I just wanted to post pictures on my account. I didn't plan to make content or videos or anything like that. And I kept it that way for a year and a half. And something really interesting happened going into this started my sophomore year of college. Something really interesting happened going into my senior year of college, where I was looking for software engineering internships, and I just got denied from every single one. I didn't end up with an internship. I was like, what am I going to do this summer? So I ended up deciding to start a meal kit business from home. So I was living at home during the summer, and I would post on. I had like somewhat of a following at this point, like maybe like 500, not big at all, but something. And I would just post. It was mostly people in my town too, so I would just post weekly menus, and people would put orders with me, and I would get the groceries. I would do all the cooking and make deliveries to people's houses. So that summer was really special to me, because I built up so much food knowledge over that time, because I was cooking a lot of dishes I otherwise would not have cooked. I was on my feet like 8-9 hours a day cooking. So all that practice really took my cooking to the next level. And also around that time, people were starting to blow up all over like TikTok and Instagram for making food content. Mm-hmm. So this is now September 21, after the summer ended, and I'm back at school. And I was like, okay, I'll try it out. I'll make one video a week. Still don't know. Like at this point, I still wasn't like, it was turning into a passion for me, cooking. I still wasn't sure what I wanted to do by the end of my college experience, but I ended up just doing one video a week, and I just started building up that passion over time. I was like, oh wow, like I really think I can make something of myself. And this was so I going into second semester, so I found out that I failed like 2 of my final exams really badly. So it ended up causing me to fail those classes. And the reason why is because I thought it was a good idea to try to make food content while also studying for my final exams. At the time, I guess it wasn't the greatest idea, but I was doing okay in those classes, but I did so poorly on the final exams that I had to retake those classes since I failed them. And I had to stay one extra semester. It was the classes were like advanced algorithms and like machine learning.
Oh my goodness. Very
Yeah.
difficult.
So
Yeah.
they were two of the hardest classes I've taken. I was like, oh, I have to go through this entire thing again. I have to retake this. I was like, okay, whatever. I'll just trust whatever's coming my way. So I had to stay an extra semester because I didn't have the time to finish all of it at once. So I just was like, okay, whatever. I'll take my time with this. So I now had like a year to figure out my life, because at this time it was a blessing in disguise, because at this time I saw my life going like this. It was like either I go into the tech world after college or I go into all things related to food. So I saw this as like, deep down, I saw this as a step in the direction of like, oh wow, it's like buying me some extra time to build up my platform and hopefully turn it into a career.
Nice.
So I made the time to really like double down on my efforts to create food content. So I bought a better camera. I started really, really getting into like editing my videos better, because the food is like not so important. It's really how you present it to the world. So I really wanted to get better at that, and just practice over time. I got a lot better with it. I focused my entire summer on creating food content. And then now I'm in my last semester. I just kept posting, and I started really blowing up in October. So I was at like 10,000 followers on Instagram in the beginning of September, and then by the end of October, I hit 100,000 followers on
Just last October?
Yes, this past October.
Yeah, because now I've been like, I have your Instagram pulled up, and I'm like, you have 216,000 followers. Like, that's no joke.
It's crazy. So it took me like a year and a half to hit 1,000, another year and a half to hit 10,000, a month after that to hit 100,000, and now I'm at over 200,000 on Instagram.
And this is all videos.
It's crazy. It's like I can't even put into words how crazy like this experience has been, because like every week right now, my life is changing. Like I finally started doing this full time after graduating in the beginning of January, and I was able to sign a bunch of brand deals to like help really turn this into a career. I've been doing a bunch of private dinners. My following across both platforms of TikTok and Instagram has gone up another 120,000 followers in the last month. Like, it's just crazy. It's like,
it is crazy. And here's the thing, that what really stood out to me is that you only on Instagram, you have 205 posts.
Yeah.
I know people that have 5,000 posts and 2,000 followers.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a problem there. If you have that many posts and if you have more posts than followers, there's something you may want to take a look at, right?
Yeah.
Well, when you were telling me that you didn't get the internships, and I'm really into manifesting and
me too, 100%.
Your vibrational frequency, right? I mean, that's the work that I do with my clients is all surrounds, raising your vibrational frequency, because that's how you attract things into the world. Yeah. And instantly I was like, you didn't get those internships because you were not in alignment. That's not in alignment with who you are and what you want to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So underneath all of this, like my mom has been into energy, vibrational frequencies, manifestation. She's always been into that. And I got into it like at the age of 19. So this was before all of this stuff happens, and I really like committed to learning more about it. I've read a lot about it. I've been meditating every day for like the last 3 years now.
Nice.
So I am very much in tune with the things that are going around me and like what they might mean for my future or like the present moment. So yeah, like I said, like when I failed those classes and I had to stay another semester, like deep down, I really knew what it was for, but I didn't say it out loud because people would think that I was crazy.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, you bring this up. That has played like the most important role out of anything else in this entire journey. Like
of course. And it shows because when we're doing our passion and what we love, your vibrational frequency rises, and you're just attracting the followers,
Yeah.
and you're living that life.
I'm in alignment with who I am when I'm cooking.
That's right.
I feel like I'm aligned with like my sole purpose.
That's right. And that's the big message here for all the listeners out there is, finding that purpose, because then you're in alignment and then life just flows. But this is a good transition with what I always love to ask people, especially when you're so young, you're just out of college.
Yeah.
I think you're the same age as my son, right? So having a business, especially, and you're building this big brand, and what you've accomplished is no joke. I mean, this is, you're on the precipice of really exploding. I mean, you've already exploded, but this is just the beginning for you.
Oh yeah.
It's just the beginning. There's so many places and ways in which this could explode for you. However, you still have a business. You still have your daily stresses. Life happens when we're busy making other plans. What is it that you do? And I'm sure meditation is a big key factor for you. What is it that you do when, you're in the middle? Life gets crazy sometimes. How do you stay grounded? How do you get back to your center to keep your frequency up?
I try to practice non-judgment of all situations in my life.
Oh, love it.
So I try not to call things or view things as good or bad. I just see them as like everything is just as it is.
Yep.
And like you attach the meaning to that. So if something is going on that could be that could be like stressful or like requiring a lot of focus, like I force myself to take a step back and like notice like if what I'm doing does go wrong and we hit the worst case scenario, like what is that really going to result in? Like is that, it's not changing who I am as a person. It's not changing the fact that I'm talented at what I do, that I have so much potential. Like I try not to attach too much like importance on things in my life. I try to be detached from them and the outcome of whatever happens and just really focus on like the process of creation itself, because I think that we are creators and what we're creating doesn't necessarily matter. It's just consciously doing it with love in our hearts. And if that's what we're doing, then can't go wrong.
I can't believe you're such an old soul. First of all, to be you're still in your early 20s, right?
23. Yeah.
You're 23. Yes. My son is he 20? Yeah. He was born in the year 2000, my son. So that's how I'm like, oh, what year is it? Oh yeah. So he turns 23 this year.
Okay.
But you're such an old soul. It takes people decades and decades to even be kind of a smidgen close to where you are. And you know what? 99% of the people never even get there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, really incredible.
Thank you.
And it also just speaks to what I was saying before, that, this is just beginning for you, because if you are already have that mindset right now, I mean, just what do you want? Like, just write it down. Okay. I want this. Okay. Boom. It's going to happen for you. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. When I like have an intention to like achieve something, like just based off what I've learned in my life, I just know that there's like nothing stopping me from having that,
Yeah. Well, and I love
down in my mind.
Right. And I love what you said about, when things happen, there's no judgment, because what most people do, things happen, whatever it may be, just fill in the blank. And then the way they react is they make up a story about what they think just happened or what they think is going to happen. And they live based on these stories that they're telling themselves, and none of it's true.
Yeah. So I listen to a lot of Deepak Chopra, and I listen to his books. And he says that like one of the most spiritual things you could do, one of the most important things you could do is just ask yourself, who am I? And you close your eyes and your perception of like whatever is around you goes away. You like cover your ears, you can't hear anymore. You shut off all the senses. And once you do all that, you realize that like who you are is just pure awareness. And that's like, that can't be destroyed and it can't be like created. Like it just exists. So once you have that understanding, like you'll be like, oh wow, like all this stuff around me that I'm putting so much importance on is like, it's not that important. It's just like what I'm making of it right now.
Yeah. Wow. I've had most of these conversations I have on my podcast are with people that are much older than you and took decades and decades to actually get there. So I just love your energy. It was so amazing to meet you in person in New York.
Likewise.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's next for you?
What's next for me is I want to get into long form content on YouTube. That's like a whole other beast compared to TikTok and Instagram.
Oh yeah.
But like when the time is right, like for now, I'm kind of on a roll on the other social media platforms. So I'm going to keep going with that. I want to be able to hire someone to like direct and like film those kinds of videos for me. So I have to build up my income a little bit more before I could hire someone like that. I want to take my dinners to the next level. Like, I want to really like get them professional, like hire someone else to help me out with them, take those to the next level. And yeah, I just want to be involved in all things food. Like I want to put products on shelves. I want to get in the hospitality business. I'd love my own Netflix show one day. I'm sure that's in the cards for me.
Oh, completely. And like restaurants in every major city.
Like the possibilities are infinite. We'll see.
It really is. Okay. Can we check in 1 year?
Yeah.
And report back to my audience what's going on?
Yes, yes.
Awesome. All right. Anything else that you want to share with the audience that we haven't talked about?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. I will make sure your information is in the show notes. For those of you listening, check out Zachary Newman, Chefin' with Zach on Instagram. Is that your TikTok handle as well?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to make sure my son checks you out because he too loves to cook, but doesn't do it like you. And for me, my favorite way to cook, my new thing, I did HelloFresh for a while. Now I'm doing Home Chef. Love it.
Never heard of that. I know about
Home Chef. Yeah, Home Chef, I tell you, I like its packaging. You pull it out of the fridge. Boy, there's the directions, make it, and it's delicious. I just love it. That's my kind of cooking.
That's totally fine. Listen, like,
yeah,
out with that. Hopefully one day you'll be like, oh, let me put my own
Chef with Zach. I'm going to order his meal kits. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, Zach, such a pleasure. It was so great to meet you. And we'll be cheering you on. I'm always like, when I meet people, I'm like you're another mama for you, the mama bear that's going to be here cheering you on, and just so proud of you. And I'm sure you're
nothing but health, happiness, and success, and your listeners as well.
Thank you, Zach. All right. Take care.
You as well.